Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's continue our game, Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, Siege of Dragonspear on Nintendo Switch. No, what the...
Yeah? What do you want?
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
And repent.
You're not supposed to be in here. Sorry, it's my first day. I don't have my robes yet. I got separated from the tour. You're absolutely right. Good work there. Now die. I got separated from the tour. The mad gods laugh at your feeble efforts. Your death will please him. Oh, well, I don't think it's going to work the way out you think it's going to work.
You got 300 pounds of justice!
History of Dambrath. Oh, well, let's pick up some spells first.
Huh?
Called.
Let's see, the nation of Dambrath was formed out of a barbarian kingdom almost a half-millennium ago by a powerful alliance of priestesses of Leviatar and the drow from the city of Tlindit. Oh, God, these names. In 211 DR, fleeing from the destruction of the homeland by the then great kingdoms of Uthar and Mulhorand, 4 tribes of barbarians entered Dambrath. They found a coast where the dolphins danced and plains where the grass was long. They roamed the borders of the walls of Halrua as far east as the current borders of Estegund. They soon became known as the Archaim, or People of the Wind. In 545 DR, a great war chief, Reinhar, arose to lead the tribes. The halflings of Lurin were quickly enslaved, and several of the coastal cities of Dupar were captured or razed. Estegund fell to his rule, and eventually Reinhard turned his attention to Halrua. An army of 40,000 horsemen and a fleet of 50 ships mounted a coordinated attack, and even though Ralhar was able to get beyond the walls of Halrua and occupy the cities of Mithil, Galdel, and Zalsu, their magics proved to be more than a match for the invaders. Ralhar was finally defeated in a great battle at Silzir by the archmage Maikontul and his troops of wizards. What are all these names? Wasn't all this lore made by Americans? What the... Wow, the name's so weird. Reinhar's son, Reinhar II, took command of the army and set out on a 2-month overland retreat. He arrived home with 1,000 surviving fighting men and no shaman. Reinhard II proved to be as good as the... Yeah, sorry, YouTube loves to switch my videos. That's hilarious. He arrived home with 1,000 surviving fighting men and no shaman. Reinhard II proved to be a good ruler, in defeat as his father was in war. He consolidated his forces and pulled home almost all of his troops, and he knew that the defeat made them tempting prey for raiders and encroaching monsters. This action allowed for the safe development of his peoples. By the time the 9th Reinhar was king in 802 DR, the Arcanims were fat and lazy. Reinhard IX, or Reinhard the Foolish, as he is more commonly known, insisted on expanding his nation to gain more gold to finance his military campaigns. He ordered the mining of many rich loads of silver and electrum in the Nolwatch Mountains, but before his plans of expansion could begin, the miners encountered the drow of Tlinder. The drow were outraged and began a steady series of raids and attacks on the Archaeum strongholds. Whole villages were destroyed overnight, and no trace of the invaders could be found. Reinhard IX committed the foolhardy action of attacking the drow in retaliation. While the Archaeums managed to get a force into the drow city, the action only succeeded in uniting the normally chaotic drow. For once, the full power of the drow city was turned against an enemy. The battle quickly moved back to the surface. Reinhard's raiders were wiped out, leaving Reinhard with only a small portion of his original military. This was not enough for the drow, who demanded total enslavement of the entire surface nation. The Archaeums resisted valiantly, and the war went on for 3 decades at tremendous cost to both life on both sides. Finally, the drow had the Archaeum forces cornered at Baldur. Almost without hope, the defenders were overjoyed when a group of half-elven pilgrims appeared on the scene. The high priestess, Kathir Shintar, offered the aid of her clerics to help defend the city, and Reinhard took this to be an omen from the gods. A priestess was placed with almost every company. Within a 10-day, the drow struck. The priestess did indeed prove to be of great aid, but to the drow. Every priestess turned on the Archaeums, and Kathir herself slew Reinhard. The drow were still weakened by the battle, and only the presence of the priestess enabled them to win. Kathir, realizing the unique advantage she possessed, made a deal that even the suspicious drow embraced. Her priestess would rule the land, or priestesses would rule the land, and in exchange they would provide access to the surface for the drow, trading weapons, slaves, and supplies. Drow were delighted with this brazen offer from a surface dweller. Reinhardt had been slain and the insult avenged, and after 30 years of war, the Drow were not particularly interested in Dambrath. They did insist, however, on taking the best captured males as slaves. Cather quickly agreed to this, seeing the males as an obstacle to her own power. Cather ruled for 205 years. She fulfilled her promise to make Dambrath, or the Nation of Pain, a bastion of evil in the realms. In her time, Cather saw the priesthood of Leviatar expand to thousands, and faith in the Beast Lords previously worshipped by the Archeums was nearly eradicated. Many of the Archeums were able to escape their new mistresses and flee to the Swagdar. There they resumed their almost forgotten nomadic life. The priestesses of Leviatar continued to enjoy good relations with Drow, and some even took mates, creating a race of Drow half-elves. These dark half-elves became known as the Kintri, or Krintri, or noble ones. Most are priestesses of Leviatar, though many of them are mages as well. They consolidated their power, learning much of the area from the Shibali, or lower ones, as the Archeums are now called. The capital of Dambrath was established at Carthar, built after Carthar's passing and named in her honor. Her death came at the hands of her daughter, Felina, who had grown tired of waiting for her mother to die. Felina ruled for only 5 years, however, before her own daughter, Cathke, assumed the throne in the same fashion. Cathke ruled for 54 years, eventually falling in battle against a gold dragon. She died childless, and her niece, Melanith, assumed the throne. Melanith faced an increasing population and unrest amongst males who longed for a return to their prestige of old. Melanith did not return to their previous status, Malith did not return their previous status, but she did make use of them. Fearing that the nations of Mulharund and Unthur might rise again, she decided that mundane tasks such as defense of the kingdom would be handled by men. She was the first to name a male to the post of war chief. Sadlar, a Kintri, became the queen's consort. His term as war chief was characterized by widespread bribery and corruption. He was, however, responsible for getting many privileges returned to the Archeums. After Melanith's rule, the Shibali were considered second-class citizens rather than slaves. Though males were granted more power during her rule, Melanith also solidified the split between the sexes. While the rulers of Dambrath had been females for over 2 centuries, it was more because of competence than gender. Melanith, however, decreed that men could have no authority except over other men. The female-led hierarchy of Leviatar was quick to back this move. Many of the bravest and best men of the kingdom perished in raids on Estegund, Dupar, the bandit tribes of Veldorn, and against the Gnolls who had returned to the Knollwatch Mountains. Some even fought at the side of the Drow in their battle with the Svinnerbrin city of Aventine. The Deep Gnomes were destroyed, but so were the Shibali. The Drow of the Kintri were largely unharmed for their aid, and the Kintri were rewarded with a number of Drow males to breed in the race. Melanith took a Drow male as her consort to replace Saladar, who had perished in the conflict. The Drow Nim Inthig fathered 3 daughters and a son. It was at that time Melanith began the isolationist polity that Dambrath still follows today. Melanith ruled for 156 years, her daughter Asetil for 125. The current queen of Dambrath, Yanandra, who is known in Dambrath as the Pirate Queen, is said to have sailed as far south as Zakara on pillaging raids. Yanandra has been ruling for 71 years and is beginning to show signs of age. She has 3 daughters as well, named Luathrin, Melchuril, and Hassifer. While she does remain extremely popular, especially to the Kintri, the children of leaders in the land are not known to patiently wait their turn. Why, yeah, wow, that is a long piece of text. Is this going to be any better? Who knows? Let's find out. For the past 1,500 years, Tether had a single strong royal family ruling with absolute power. When a king died or became incapacitated, his oldest son took the throne. As the family trees of those close to power became more intertwined and complicated, there were the inevitable wars of succession and bickering over which second cousin was the true heir to the throne. Civil wars were brief, however, and once the fighting was over, the system returned to normal, until the next major dispute in a few hundred years or so. The established recurring cycle was broken 10 years ago. The current ruling family had been in power for over 350 years, so long that they had dropped their own family name centuries ago. Nobody even remembers it now, and simply called themselves Tether. King Alamander IV was comfortably ruling from Castle Tether, and the country seemed happy enough, but there was a broad current of dissatisfaction amongst the people of Tether. Non-humans were forbidden by law to own land, and since most rights and privileges accorded citizens were based on land ownership, they became second-class citizens as well. Things were especially bad for elves, who were driven deep into the forest of Tether by royal armies. Alamander IV took land away from the rightful owners and gave it to nobles who promised larger contributions to the royal treasury. These social and economic inequities, coupled with several harsh winters and bad harvests in a row, made the time ripe for a change. It takes more than just a couple of lousy winters to depose a king, however. It takes treachery as well. In the case of the fall of House Tether, it took an ambitious general and an impatient royal heir. Prince Alamander grew tired of waiting for the robust Alamander IV to make room for him, so he struck a deal with General Nashram Sharbaneth, commander of the king's largest army. While Sharbaneth marched his army towards Tether, bringing along a sizable group of angry peasants recruited with the promise of land reform, the would-be Alamander V downplayed alarming reports from the king's spies and advisors, silencing the most persistence permanently through murder or exile. By the time Sharbaneth's army arrived and laid siege to Castle Tether, it was too late for loyalists to help. As Sharbaneth launched a direct assault on the castle, using the expendable peasants as shock troops, a handful of elite soldiers let in a secret entrance by the prince would eliminate key guards and open the gates. At the same time, the prince, one of the few people allowed to see the king directly, would murder his father. A fire set by elite troops would destroy the evidence of treachery. The general and the prince would emerge from the conflagration and announce a new joint government. The plan was executed perfectly, but only up to a point. Sharbaneth double-crossed the prince. His men were much too efficient in setting the castle ablaze, and Prince Alamander, along with most of his fellow conspirators, died horribly in the fire. At about the same time, a spy planted in the general's inner staff by the equally duplicitous Alamander murdered the general and dissolved his body with a powerful acid before anyone could come to his aid. To make matters worse, everyone had underestimated the resentment the people felt for the royal family. Once Castle Tether began to fall, there was no holding back the mob. In one night, the proudest, strongest castle in all the country was reduced to a smoking ruin. Everything of value, fine tapestries, plates and silverware, furniture, jewelry, weapons, clothes, armor, paintings, statues, and so on, was either stolen, burned, or just ripped apart and stomped into dust. As news of the fall of the royal family spread, so did the chaos. In what is known as the 10 Black Days of Iliant, anyone known or even suspected of blood connection to the royal family was put to the sword. This led to some darkly humorous moments as social climbers who had bragged just a week before of being a sixth cousin twice removed of the royal aunt tried in vain to convince an angry mob that they were only kidding. The nobles who were the biggest supporters of the royal family also came under attack, and some baronial keeps fell. Local leaders who had adequately distanced themselves from the Tether family, or were popular enough or feared strong enough, survived. Those surviving nobles became the initial players in the fight to decide the fate of Tether. One thing was certain: any leader or type of government that too closely resembled the rule of the Tethers would not be accepted. Royalist became a dirty word in Tether society. The power struggle continues to this day, and there is no sign of it ending anytime soon. Yeah, wow, okay.
What you got for me this time?
That was the book he was reading? Jeez.
This group shows
Top of my
promise.
to-do list.
Oh god, there's more books. The Dead of Three, History of Halrua, History of Zentrum. I don't know if we've read all of these or not. History of the Dead 3, Knucklebones, Skull Bowling, and the Empty Throne. In ages past, there was but one god of strife, death, and the dead, and he was known as Jurgel, lord of the end of everything. Jurgel fomented and fed on the discord among mortals and powers alike. When beings slew each other in their quest for power or their hatred, he welcomed them into his shadowy kingdom of eternal gloom. As all things died and everything came to him eventually, and over time he built his power into a kingdom unchallenged by any other god. Eventually, however, he grew tired of his duties, for he knew them too well. Without the challenge there is nothing, and in nothingness there is only gloom. In such a state, the difference between absolute power and absolute powerlessness is undetectable. During this dark era, there arose 3 powerful mortals, Bane, oh, okay, I have read this then. Alright, let's not worry about those then. I'm gonna spend like the next 30 minutes reading texts. The following notes are scrawled in an almost indecipherable hand. For him, in Baal's name, I will not break. I keep him in mind, always in mind. She is sent to try me. I lined them up side by side. The Lord of Murder likes order. He will return, I know he will, and then he will see how faithful I've remained. Then I shall torment Akana as she has tormented me. I'll take her eyes, roast them, and feed them to her, one by one, and then regrow them, and make her eat them, again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Head aches so badly, I feel someone whispering to me in the dark. Is it Baal? Has my lord returned? The voice tells me my penance is almost at an end. The Kamal's rule here is done. I must be the lord. It must be the Lord of Murder. But I hear the voice so faintly in my head. My head.
Yeah? What do you want?
Okay, down here. Do you know any of this stuff? I don't know. Maybe? Let's see. What can I identify it? Kind of scroll right there. Yeah, well, whatever.
Huh? Top of my to-do list.
I don't know how you made it this far, but your progress and your life ends here. You look to have a draconic heritage. Are you related to the dragon upstairs by any chance? The one I slew? Give me the Bridgeford Wardstone, and no one else has to die. You've problems enough around here without more slaughter. Can we talk about this? I'm looking for a Wardstone. Maybe you've seen it. Bold words back up with action. Give me the Bridgeford Wardstone. Our High Priestess carries the stone you seek, but you'll never make it to her. Because she's locked herself up, or so I've heard. What exactly is happening here? I wouldn't be so sure of that. She sounds like she's a loony and shouldn't be hard to defeat. Because she's locked herself up. The voice in the dark is only the whispers of our mad god. It must be. Cyric speaks to our priestess, and whatever she does behind the ritual doors furthers his dark agenda. Guards, defend me! Yeah, okay. Is there guards I have to worry about? Well, where are they?
Go for the eyes!
Pretty sure I killed them all.
I missed.
Potentis Paro.
What you got for me this time?
Thy demand?
What? Yeah? What do you want? Aye?
Two-handed sword. Am I really full? Oh, yeah, I really am full. Okay.
Huh? Way ahead of you, boss.
The mural of a dragon in its death throes has faded with age. Flecks of gold are all that remain of the dragon's original color. The gray shades and chalk white highlights of the exposed underpaintings give it a somber, ghostly air. Oh, sure it does. Card journal, Arcana's journal. Oh god, are these going to be long reads? Probably. This journal is mainly filled with mundane details of running a temple, save for the last entry dated yesterday. Akana has not emerged from the ritual room for days. I hear strange noises from within. She told me it was an ancient ritual that might take time, but it has been too long. I'll give her one more day before I unlock the door and see what has transpired. Let's see, Akana's journal. These are selected entries from Akana's journal that catch your eye. 1360 DR. We have seized the temple of the Lord of Murder. We killed many of Baal's clergy. Others escaped. I claimed a prize for myself, the High Priestess Madel. I have caged her while I decide what glorious things to do with her. Praise Sirik, fear the Dark Sun. 1363 DR. I decided once again not to sacrifice Madel, or Madele? I don't know. I take too much pleasure from her madness. Instead, I removed her eyes and roasted them in a brazier as an offering to my Lord Sirik. I ate them afterwards, their smoky, blistered jelly a delightful treat. The pathetic wretch continues to cry out to her dead god. I filled her head with tales of Sirik's rise, and she believes my lord rules over all the darkened land, as someday he will. 1365 DR. We have a pleasant routine. My Madel and I, once a 10-day, I visit her, sometimes more, sometimes less. I've forgotten about her once or twice, and she had to eat her own offerings of rats and lizards she murders in Baal's name. Then I spin my tales of Sirik's dominance until she works herself into a frenzy. Last week she actually collapsed in a fit, thrashing and choking. I watched her until it passed, letting her own body decide whether to kill her or not. The latest entry is dated 1 week ago. Another headache last night. I've been having strange dreams of darkness and water. Is this a sending from the Prince of Lies? I can't tell. My thoughts are muddled and confused. I fear something is wrong. Okay, where is this room? Where are you?
Fight if you
Somebody
must,
dead
but
soon.
you're not winning this. Time to end you. See, that's the exit. It's the prisoners. Okay. That's nothing. Fight if you must, but you're not winning this.
Right out of the realms.
Valets, prepare for thine end!
Oh, there's still somebody here? Huh? Where'd you come from?
Swing and a miss.
Bleed for Shah.
Lineage right out of the realms.
Initiative.
What you got for me this time? Way ahead of you, boss.
Just gold, huh?
Yeah? What do you want?
Boo?
You want me? I love dungeons. They're usually bursting with gold. Right.
Huh?
Nothing I care about in there.
Let's see how long you last against me, like a champ.
You won't
My magic will end thee.
Top of my to-do list.
Oh, okay. You're really old.
This is the end for you.
Is there anything else here? It's just a... I thought that was just a picture. Huh. Well, I didn't touch the dragon.
Alone in the dust, alone in the rust. Forgotten servant of a forgotten god.
I am here to free you. I found the key to your cell. Free? I will never be free. I am bound to the Lord of Murder. He guides me even when he is silent. So silent. I am here. I do as you will. I am a child of Baal. I command you to leave this place and find a way to amend for your misdeeds in life. Your orders contradict everything my lord has taught me, but you are his child. How can I deny you? How can I defy him? I will try, child of murder. Yeah, get out of here, you crazy old bat. What the hell's wrong with you?
A pleasure it is to meet you.
I used to be a sewer cleaner. This is better.
A pleasure it is to meet you.
You're on the right side of history, human. Our enemies just don't understand what it is we seek to do. Oh, hi.
Monsters! They're killing us! Run!
The journal of the eyes. Oh wait, why can't I move? Oh. What the heck? Monsters, eh? You don't say. Okay, there you are. Yeah, we should probably attack you.
Fight if you must, but you're not winning this. Suffer the wrath of the arcane!
Roguestone. Lair tier necklace? What? Okay, well, you got something on you. Oh, they were in a metal concert apparently. Okay. Is there more to this place? Oh, I thought that was the end. Okay, well, let's see what happens here. 2 pillars adorned with bas-relief skeletons lower tower over a stone altar stained with the blood of countless sacrifices to the mad god Sirik. Alright, well, let's go find out who's hanging around here. Hot, 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 hot. What's this? A slug.
You're mine now.
'Tis my will!
Antidote. Strength, perception. Fire, burning, insight, elixir of health.
What you got for me this time? Yeah? What do you want? Way ahead of you, boss.
Strewn across this sturdy oak table surface are an assortment of strange instruments and devices. Their purpose is a mystery, perhaps even to their maker. Well, perhaps. You press against the mask and it moves, sliding back into a shallow niche with an audible click. Click. This wall is obviously the work of 2 or more different masons, more than likely during different periods of time in the temple's history. Just in case anything weird happens here. An image fills your mind. The creature before you walks down a dark passage before emerging into the bloody light of the temple. It stands above a pile of bodies in an attitude of triumph. Yours is one of the bodies on the pile. Your brain is removed from your skull. Let's see. Who are you? What was your plan here? Ugh, you've got tentacles on your face. I care nothing of your plans, monster. You die now. Who are you? What are your plans here? The image changes to that of the mind flayer, bowing before an enormous pulsating brain in a pool of liquid. A feeling of success permeates the vision. This temple is now the domain of the massive brain creature. The visions fade away in a swirl of blackness and menace. Okay. Well, nice talking to you.
You won't outlive the day.
Fight if you must, but you're not. Mercy for those who oppose! Curses!
That one's gonna leave me! Huh?
Aye?
What you got for me this time? Way ahead of you, boss.
Dead body. This is a dead body. Well, okay. A gelatinous, faintly glowing substance burbles and burps as it oozes through this collection of glass and metal tubes. Well, I'm assuming I don't want to have it for dinner.
Yeah?
When
By
danger
God.
calls,
Sweetheart?
Minsk answers. Sword first.
Yes, dear.
Huh?
Shouldn't I destroy this or something? I guess I'll leave it where it is, apparently. Alright, anyplace else? I think that's it.
Way ahead of you, boss.
Anything in here I care about? No. Not really.
The voice in my head? It's gone. Is this your doing, stranger?
Yes, I slew the mind flayer that had taken over this temple. I'm a hero, that's what I do, and heroes deserve rewards. You are the High Priestess of Sirik. You venerate my father's killer, for that you die. I slew the creature controlling you. You're next. Yes, I do the thing.
Then I thank you. I offer you what wealth I have and this item. I hope they convey my gratitude.
I've seen too much of the horrors here to let you live. I'm actually looking for a ward stone. Do you have it?
I do. You saved my temple, so I give it to you gladly. But now I ask you to leave this sacred place. We must begin rebuilding. You return?
I'm just passing by. I guess I could kill her, but, you know. I don't know. Seems like I shouldn't just be going slapping people across the face everywhere I go, you know? I did that in the original game. Of course I let all the evil people go. I suppose that's the moral quandary that you have to deal with in this game. Well, I don't know. They were all driven mad for different reasons. Seems unjust to kill them all.
Way ahead of you, boss. Way ahead of you, boss.
That's right. I forgot to actually kill the dragon. Spider lair. Exit here and exit here. Did I go into the spider lair? I don't remember, honestly. That is a cliff I can't go up, maybe? Yes, it is not.
the most fun I've had in weeks.
Oh, got some level races. I guess I should pay attention to that stuff. There we go. Got some skills, eh? Let's see. Move silently, hide in shadows, detect illusions, set traps. How about, move silently? Yeah, sure. Okay, did I go in here? I don't remember.
Yeah, I'll get right on
You
that.
must gather your party before venturing forth.
This is the end for you.
Because I generally don't like dealing with the spiders, because they can, cause you to be immobile. It's super annoying.
Doesn't like this place. He had a bad experience
I'll get right
with
on
the
that.
web once. He does not want to talk about it.
Now I gotta wait for him to get unstuck. God, it's so annoying dealing with spiders. This spell just seems to last forever, too.
What you got for me this time?
Come on, get over here. Screwing around, guys.
Yeah? What do you want? Huh? What you got for me this time?
A cluster of large spider eggs lies beneath a veil of delicate silk webbing. Ah, so delicate.
Take it like a champ.
Yeah? What do you want?
Webs. No matter how far I go, they are there to snare me.
I kick bad
despise them.
butts, and I cannot lie.
Your need.
Huh? What you got for me this time? Yeah? What do you want?
Spiders, spiders, spiders!
Watch out!
To battle!
Alright, why don't we stop it there? This is Autopostrophe. You've been watching Baldur's Gate, Siege of Dragonspear on Nintendo Switch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.